Right, so welcome back, everyone. It is me, Mac, and Jake again. How are we all doing?
Hunky dory, hunky dory.
Very good, very good. So this week was kind of I won't say a big week, but it was a kind of big week in my view, especially, I suppose, we're filming this on Sunday, and the Rossi VR46 video went out, which I shared with you yesterday, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, very interesting, don't you? Do you know
Yeah,
that, like,
yeah. Called it again, Matt.
yeah, did spot on, but I just thought it was funny that like the FIM president is leaking news,
Yeah,
or else it's a very. Do you know the way we say about in like with Mark saying things or Polo saying things out in the press to get back to Honda Japan. Do you know what I mean? In my view, this was telling the two boys or the two teams, Ducati, Yamaha, and or sorry, the three teams, get your shit sorted and get that
yeah, yeah,
happening. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's happening whether you like it or not. And I once had a friend that was a DJ, and he was Italian, and he said to me, "He's a Connor. I'll tell you this: my neighbors listen to good music whether they want to or not." And I think this is the exact same way. But I suppose it is something that we should talk about. Like, okay, moving from a Ducati GP22 to a Yamaha is going to be a difficult move.
Yeah, it is.
And 100% agree with people on that, that it could take a long while for it to actually work.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah,
you know, a lot of people were giving out about Ducati and their eight bikes. And I won't go into the whole,
yeah.
it's a stopgap, right? And Ducati have said that themselves. But the FIA president has said, there will be six Ducatis and four Yamahas on the
Yeah.
grid in 2024. But even if he didn't say that, it does, for me, make sense that they would go and do it because realistically, it's hard now to get sponsorship and it's going to get harder in the next 2 to 3
Oh
seasons,
yeah.
especially with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Rossi
That's
has closed. He's closed down more what I would realistically say the academy. They do have
Mhm.
younger riders in different race categories, but the Moto 3 team is gone. The Moto 2 team is gone. Do you know what I mean? It's all about MotoGP now. And MotoGP is very, very expensive,
Yeah.
right? Yes, renting a Ducati is very expensive, but I would nearly go and bet you that Yamaha would nearly be giving him the
Oh
bikes
yeah.
for nothing
Yes. At
to
this
run.
stage of the game, damn straight. Yes.
Yeah, but,
And you're right. It's going to be tougher and tougher. Finance is my wheel horse, and um, it's going to be tougher. This economy isn't going to hold on forever, especially the United States. I can tell you right now. Um,
yeah. Well, look, the states trigger a lot of other countries into
yes.
recession as well. So yeah, I think, and look, that's where I'm kind of hedging my bet on this is that Yamaha are actually the losers in all of this game, right? Because they're desperate for a factory or a satellite team. They're
Yeah.
absolutely desperate. So
Because
if you,
no one's gonna jump on. What it tells me though is when you have six bikes and they're going to go to their four, and the FIM's telling them nobody's going to jump on that team unless they know a V4 is coming. With the situation, that's a dead end situation with that inline four.
that's
So what are
that's
you gonna what are you gonna do? You're gonna jump on a thing and say, well, it's going to be a dead end for 5 years? No, you're going to say, listen, where's the light at the end of the tunnel, guys? And if they don't give it to them, they're not going to go there.
yeah, and that's the other thing, and this is why I'm saying Yamaha are going to be under pressure, not just only financially because they're going to have to almost
Yeah.
give their bikes away.
Mm-hmm.
They're also going to have to be, how would I say, like in a negotiation when you're doing a team or when you're doing a negotiation, right? Normally the person with the product has the power, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, we will give
Yeah.
you this, right? But you have to keep up this level of performance. You have to do this. I think the contract is going to be the other way around. So
Yeah.
Yamaha are going, or VR46 are going to be to Yamaha. Well, look, you need to actually make sure that we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. Do you know what I mean? And if we can't compete, we'll just dump you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, and it's in my view, it's a very, very different. Or it'll be a very different negotiation to a normal satellite team.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not going to, like I said, they're not going to hang on to this thing for say, well, it's going to be good in 5 years. They're going to say, listen, if it's going to be good in 5 years, I better get it for nothing. I'm not footing the bill because you went cheap and didn't build the thing 2 years ago or start 2 years ago. I'm not paying for your R&D.
And we're not paying for your development. Yeah, exactly. Is it? And you see, Yamaha then need the development time, and you know what I mean. They need the bike on track. So I think Yamaha, while financially they will be losers out of it, they will gain massively out of it as well. You know, and look, I do believe this is kind of key why Rossi won't get on the GP23 either. Do you know what I mean? His team is associated with the brand, but he is not associated with the brand of Ducati anymore, and he's broken that. And I personally, I think that was actually the thing. He said that, because he didn't have a goal to achieve. So what I mean, like, no, personally myself, hopping on a Ducati for a day, my only goal would be to stay on the fucking thing, right?
Don't crash.
Do not crash it. Do you know what I mean? I'd be paying off the side fairing for about 3 years. Do you know what I mean? If we went over, like, do you know what I mean? But no, I suppose, look, like, I found it just very interesting though how the president of the FIM is pushing this, and that got me wondering then, like, is this Ducati actually pushing to get rid of the R46?
They don't want. They do not want 8 bikes. I can tell you right now. Even where they had, like this year, where they went 4 factory and 4 satellite
for 23. Yeah,
guys, folks out there, members, when they keep talking about, oh, they're going to transfer data. Even at 4 and 4, they're going to transfer data for 4 bikes, and the other bikes will be transferring data for 4 bikes. And the satellite bikes, they already transferred their data from the year before. So you're transferring for 4. This year, everything is screwed up. They didn't transfer shit, If that would be like all the bikes were like apples and oranges. So that had there was really no upside for them doing it this year.
Yeah. Looked like there was. You could make slight correlations, but they wouldn't be hard fact. Do you know what I mean? Like you have a 22 and a 22.5, and how it wears its tires. Probably different. Then you have Zarco running the front and rear right height, so that takes him out of the fucking ball game. Do you know what I mean? And then look for me, I just think it was really interesting that it came out, and it does give me a lot of hope that, as a Yamaha fan, that maybe they will get back there. Now, the only thing is I don't think Bezzecchi will be on a Yamaha.
No,
I know he signed for 2. I know he signed for 2 years. I reckon Ducati are going to be like, we want him.
Yeah, and as a rider, would you want to go with the Yamaha and know you're going to be stuck there for 2 years? 2 years down with an inline 4. But let me tell you, I'll just push this in a little bit. Wouldn't Yamaha behoove them to have open testing again? It would help them a lot, and it would be cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper. I was looking at this, right, and we've gone through the open testing thing, right? It's never going to happen, right?
I disagree. They have to. The cost is getting so high the way they do it, and it's so inefficient.
Yeah, but their minds are completely on the opposite of what we think.
They have to admit they were wrong somewhere along the line.
They never will. I personally think what.
I mean, all the manufacturers went open testing. Even Honda's going up and saying, "Listen, we have Marquez bit isn't working anymore." Why that we're not going to try to hinder everybody else who's going to bite us in the ass. So that was what started in the first place.
Yeah, we'll talk about Honda in a bit, but I just think I think what they should actually look at doing, right? I don't think any team now has concessions anymore. Right.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't think any team have concessions anymore. So I think they should look at the tire allocation. right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you finish top of the manufacturer standings, you get your 120 tires.
Mm-hmm.
If you finish second, you get 140.
No.
If you, and
Why
it just
hinder
gives
somebody? That's wrong. So you're thinking like a rider.
you.
I'm thinking like a team owner, and the guy's paying the bills. Why should I get penalized for doing well? And that's what you're saying.
Why do you get paid more for winning the championship?
Because you performed. You did well. You performed. You get the victor goes the spoils. You don't say, well, guess what? You won. You won the championship, so we're going to dock your salary another, $1 million.
It works in F1.
You win the title, you get less money.
No, you win the title. You get less time in the wind tunnel.
But two wrongs do not make a right.
I just think it just closes that gap.
Yeah, but that's the guy in his second. The guy who came in second. Okay, that's his tough shit to deal with. He has to. That's what competition makes the. Makes mother invention.
I don't disagree with it, but I just think, giving people an open testing. I just think it will have people testing a valve cap just for the sake of fucking testing.
So what? Cap. So what if they're doing a valve cap? That's their money to do it with. But I'd like the idea where you say, well, we'll let you have open testing, but you have to do the year before. You got to give them testing too.
Yeah.
Now, and the cost went up 400%. This is, I'm giving you a figure from 5 years ago, but it went up 400% when they went with this restrictions, right?
Yeah.
Because they had to hire all these new engineers that can't do it when their hands are tied. So they'll gladly for open testing. Give the year before the open testing also for whatever they need, whatever they come up with, right? And everybody's happy. How is Yamaha and Honda and everybody supposed to keep up if their engineers hands are tied?
Well, yeah. Well, look, like
you have to do it. You have to do it to everybody. If they can't catch up, you can't say, "Well, restrict Ducati and Aprilia and give them open testing and Ducati and Aprilia." No, because that's just wrong.
But they were doing it anyway with concessions. Do you know what I mean? You could fucking test as many as you had open testing, right? Until you get up somewhere near the pace.
Yeah, but at this stage of the game, they're so complicated. If you get back far, I mean, if you fall back a step, you can't get back up again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're not that far off. That's
tell Marquez that is not that far off, as he's kicking gravel from his ass.
Yeah. Well, but like saying
tell Yamaha when they're sitting there going, "What happened? The engines keep blowing up."
Well, I would disagree with you in that. Right, they're all within a second, 1.5, 1.6 seconds, top 18.
Yeah,
they're not that far off. Do you know what I mean?
It's far off enough. Just look at it as an upside potential and downside loss, like the stock market. There's all good. There's no bad. What's the bad end of it? They're gonna start testing. A 9/16 versus an inch and a half inch bolt. So what? This way, everybody gets happy. Everybody gets to test what they're going to test, right? And I don't really think they're going to get that nuts on it, but it doesn't behoove them to test the half-inch bolt, that type of thing. But if they want to knock themselves out, they're still, like I said, money's tight. They're going to do what's needed, not be frivolous about it.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I just think in Formula One it will work well because. Now, and this is more aerodynamic testing, right, than actual physical, but they get more time in the wind tunnel and more time, whatever. And
they get way more time than we do than MotoGP. They get more testing than MotoGP by far.
They don't. No, not anymore. No. I think they have like 2 days testing next year before the season starts, Formula One.
Then you research this with what we were saying about the tires and how much they get, the engineering testing? How much engineering testing? The riders or drivers testing, I'm not worried about that, but the engineering testing.
The engineer. Well, no, you see, then they're caught within a budget cap, right? so this is actually benefiting KTM at the moment because a lot of the Red Bull engineers are gone to KTM.
Yeah, well,
not a lot,
and,
a good chunk, right?
And they're in a Formula One, their budget cap is what 150 million, not
Yeah, but then
we can run 5 teams. We can run 5 teams for 150 million.
Yeah, but look, it's all
like
relevant.
Apples and oranges,
But it's all relevant. Like the MotoGP engines in MotoGP compared to a Formula One engine price tag are very vastly different. Like, do you know what I mean? And then you have the battery storage, and then you have the logistic. It's far more expensive to run an F1 team than a MotoGP team. Fair enough. But again, look, I don't know. I just think I hate to see rev limit punishments and all of this stupid fucking shit.
Oh
right?
God, yes, the rev
and
bullshit.
If I can give, I would put it this way. If the manufacturer to finish first and last, and there's 3 days difference in the allotted testing, for me that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Just go and fucking do your things, and see, can you get close? Honda are not going to solve their problems in 3 days in testing on the track. I know.
No, but if you have them open testing, they might stumble on something. Mr. said Minor, he's pretty good on his site. He said they might just stumble onto something, and if you have open testing, they might gives them a greater chance to stumble on a solution.
And look,
there's no downside to open testing for as far as the bike's concerned, and getting things done. And everybody shows up. Wouldn't it be nice for the fans to have everybody show up with their best foot forward? Instead of testing while they're, which is bullshit, testing while you're racing. You should never have to test and race at the same time. That's ridiculous.
Unless you build a pig of a bike.
Well, they're forced to. That's what I'm saying. They're forced to do it. But it shouldn't be that way. Mac, I've been doing this a long time. You never had anybody testing while racing. When these wet bikes showed up, everybody was rip roaring and ready to go, which was great for the fans. You didn't have this. Well, are they going to catch up later? Can they fix this? Look at Ducati, 5 races to get their bike straight. First 5 races.
No, that's different. They're victims of their own selves, right? My view.
Oh, they were. Yes, they were. They had let Pecco pick the 22.5 engine, but they still had work to do on the 22 because they put 8 bikes out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
so they
put 4 22s out.
Yeah, it didn't help them. Let's put it this way: they didn't help themselves, but it wasn't.
Well, look, let's be fair, right? The 21s could go around the track already, right?
But the 21s also had mapping problems. They didn't get theirs finished either.
Yeah. Remember? But look, like Ducati were victim of their own self, right?
Halfway, they can say they didn't help themselves, but that they already that the situation was screwed up from get go.
Yeah. Look, they went the wrong way in the engine, right?
Yeah,
and they did, right? And they like.
But I'm saying that even if they didn't go the wrong direction, they didn't have enough time to get everything straightened out because they had 8 bikes on them. Okay.
Yeah, but
this picking the wrong engine for Pecco at the last moment and having no testing before they started racing just added insult to injury. Now, if you had open testing, you wouldn't have these problems. This would all been done a week beforehand. I mean, they would have had the 22.5 done or had the 22 sorted by the time that came out on day 1.
Yeah, I would love to actually though put down and look at the numbers. I'll try and find some numbers on the testing. What an average test day costs. Just an average test day. Do you know what I mean? Because I get what you're saying, and look, I always look out for the smaller teams in this, right? And yes, they can bring whatever, right? But the likes, just say, of Grassini would have nowhere near the budget of Yamaha or Honda or whatever. So having open testing, they might always have stuff to try for them. Do you know what I mean? Or they might be able to afford to do it. Do you know what I mean?
But that goes with your testing, saying that they have to go with they have to get a lot of time for the underling for the test. Satellite teams testing, but sorry, I'm getting cold. But there's the problem is that they have engineers that can't do anything because they have no track testing. It's so inefficient. Okay.
Oh yeah. Look,
So they,
I
they
100%
literally have where they used to have 50 engineers for say five manufacturers. Now they literally have 300. So now you have 250 guys you have to pay good money to sit there and more or less throw shit up against the wall and hope it sticks. Where they could actually have track testing and say, okay, this is better than this, and go on, and or toss this. This is good. It's so much more efficient. Every other industry wouldn't do this. This is just goofy.
Formula One done. They have like
Well,
5,000 people in each fucking team, and
well, they got 40 people serving you lunch for each driver. That's a bad example. That's
But they do. Look, yeah, and NASCAR teams and all of this. I 100% get it, but I just think in this series they're going to be like they're never going to develop last year's bike at the same rate they're going to develop this year's bike. Right?
No, but you can't expect that. I mean, it's
Yeah, but if we bring it, if we hold them that you have to bring new parts to each test for both.
But they'll do it with the savings of cost. They'll do it gladly.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a look and try and find out what the cost savings would actually be in it, because I think it is an interesting point, and maybe if we start talking about it, maybe someone in the FIM or whatever might listen.
Just remember, you have to add on that 250 the salaries of 250 freaking engineers in there. They had to add on, and it might have went up. You know what I mean? Because the bikes are so complicated. There's no. The Dorna is speaking like they're thinking like it's 1980 and somebody's going to show up with a bike. That was the thing. They said, "Oh, well, what about the little guy who's working out of one garage and he has to show up and he has to pay for track testing?" How many guys are showing up they're working out of one garage in MotoGP? Zero. Yeah. I mean, come on. I know there's the members on the Dorna chair must be older than Cash.
Well, yeah. Look, a lot of it is a lot of it is with Dorna, but a lot of it is with IARTA. IARTA as well. Do you know what I mean? They're not pushing back on it either. Do you know what I mean? And the Manufacturers Association. So look, look, I'll definitely try and take that away and find out what's the cost of a test day, just say, and then the background then of running a MotoGP team. What are the engineers approximate? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Marquez, he's some boy. I love the warning that he gave out to Rins and Mir about confidence, and we got a good few comments about if you're not prepared to crash or if you're not crashing. Now, for me, if you're not crashing, it equals you're not trying, right? That's always the way with racing, right? That doesn't mean that you actually crash. It means
every day,
it means that you go to the limit of a corner and you start losing the front. Mm-hmm. To back a small bit.
Yeah.
Marquez, all his career, and I'll have to give this to him, doesn't have that filter, right? It just does not exist. He will go and go and go, and he will crash rather than just lose the front and take his warning. And it's probably what sets him apart as being that other one. Is like he'll get a warning, but he'll still go in as hard again the next time round.
He doesn't have that oh shit moment in his head.
Yeah. And then he seems to take that data and save it for the race. Now, sometimes in the race he pushes on, and that's the end of it, right? But I think he's very right. I think he's pointed out, possibly in my view, a jink in both Mir and Rins's armor. And when they start crashing, they start to lose their confidence. And he's just telling them, you need to make sure that. And in my view, it was just like he was just telling them, it's okay if you crash, just blame the bike. Do you know what I mean? Just keep blaming the bike. Don't be blaming yourself, Joe. Don't be blaming what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? You go into the corner again the next time. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was really handy advice, but it was fucking terrible for Honda again, because basically he's just saying like, Joe, look, we know we're going to lose the front end. Joe, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Like,
and Honda, he used to be the poster boy for Honda because he would never say anything wrong about Honda ever. Remember, throughout his career, and when he hit that 2019, he got pissed off. Then the whole thing changed. If you notice, from then on, he was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
The filter was removed, and like a lot of people are saying, and in the comments that I read, that like without Marquez, Honda's nothing. And to a certain extent, they're right, okay, but that's again, it's kind of like we talked about with Ducati. They're victim of their own selves. Do you know what I mean? They had a lot of time and space to actually engineer things, to take a look at it. Like they should have been doing what they're doing now 4 years ago.
Yeah, because Marquez asked for it 4 years ago. If you remember. Yeah, that's where he got on that drunken row. He was bitching about the bike, and that's what got the whole thing rolling. He said, "Fix it, goddammit," and they didn't. But that's their DNA. That's why I don't like Honda's executive department. They always come up. You swear you're dealing with somebody that never rode a bike before.
Yeah, and it's such a shame to see them in like Honda are a really good company, right?
Like, they were a very good company. I'll tell you, when the old man died, everything went to shit. Okay.
Like they came into Formula One. They were fucking disastrous, right? They pulled the finger out of their arse. Do you know what I mean? And they switched from McLaren to Red Bull, and everything changed. Mm-hmm. Whether that was Red Bull's structure, whatever, expectations, time and knowledge. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like going, okay, so you came in whatever, right? You built an engine that blew up every 200 meters, right? Which they did, right?
I'll take your word on it. Unfollow Formula One.
They got their shit together, and they started going and winning championships within a couple of years. What is happening? You go down the road, around the corner, you go into the HRC, which it's a HRC racing department is where the Formula One project is run under now. Mm-hmm. But you go to the next room where the MotoGP department is, and it's like a clusterfuck. And that's the only way you could put it. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there, and I just like going like, how can this be happening? I know motorbikes in HRC's mind is not their golden child anymore.
They're an auto company now, and even Mr. Honda. Now, I got this out of the Wall Street Journal, and if they're wrong, they give you $50,000. They make a wrong statement in Wall Street Journal. This is years ago. They said that he put in a corporate trust that the motorcycle, the HRC, has to be there. Like so, because he thought they'd wipe it out. And he loved the motorcycles. He was the motorcycle guy, not a car guy. And he said they have to be there. Well, even he dies. Yeah, they're still there, but priority isn't there. Yeah.
It's a fixed budget. Do you know what I mean? Low priority. But look, I think it's just a waste. And the other side of the coin, then, right? Like we talked about testing there. Paul Espargaro came out as well during the week, and he said, literally, for 1 year I was a works rider. For the next year, just a waste of fucking time and money. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I think Honda kicked themselves in the balls properly this time. Like, I can understand if you were on a Ducati GP22 and you were moving to KTM, I would not give you a fucking coat of paint more than you needed on your fucking bike. Do you know what I mean? If we found super slippy fucking paint, you wouldn't be getting it. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you could bring that of value to KTM or wherever, right? Now, if you're fucking a tail end Charlie team, you're struggling, and when a rider says that he's fucking off somewhere else, you're not going to give him the parts that you're copying off everyone else anyway.
Right. Yeah.
To test, get the mileage, get the data, get an understanding.
Yeah.
I was like,
you don't want that bad data, So, I can give you a comical one on this. It was Simon Crafar was on the last on the brakes, and they said when KTM came into MotoGP in 2017, they poached all the Honda engineers, right?
Mhm.
And then found out, hey, Honda engineers suck. We got to fire them all.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I thought that was comical. It's the same situation. Why? We don't want their data. God, we poached the wrong freaking guys. We should poach them from Ducati. These guys suck.
Yeah. But look, like, and for me, there's only one place where this problem occurs, and that's management. And it's poor fucking management that they let two riders. One is a two-time world champ. Did Paul Espargaro win the thing? He did he? I'm not
He
sure.
won a Moto too, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He won
Anyway,
yeah.
but they let two really good riders, in my view. Well, they're fucking faster than me anyway, right? But they let two really good riders that could give data back, opportunities to give data back, and they didn't use it.
Yeah.
I can understand for one race or two races where that aluminium swing arm was only available for Mark and Taka, right? But this is fucking Honda, right? Do you know what I mean? They have deep pockets. They needed to get 4 or 8 or 12 or 16 of those made. Not a bother, but it just seemed like they're like, oh, we're afraid now you're going to take this to KTM.
Yeah.
KTM are fucking finishing ahead of you anyway, dickhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's.
And wouldn't you think that the only progress they seem to have made is in that rear swing arm, okay, that they got from Calix? You'd think they'd say, hey, you know what? Our only progress has been that Calix swing arm. Why don't we let Calix give it a shot and do the rest of the chassis? It's not like they're not known in the industry. I mean, they have success. I mean, they took over Moto 2. Give it a shot. What's like I said, they have deep pockets.
I think that's going to be the scoop of next year, because I think that's going to happen, right? But Honda, just like the rear swing arm, that fucking got out, right? And Honda now are like, right, fuckers, how did that get out that we're going to use one of your swing arms? Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a massive corporate thing going on there at the moment that the Japanese don't like, that this information was leaked. Where did that leak come from?
When you're looking that bad, who cares if it's leaking?
But yeah, but you see, this is fucking them. Like, you had two good fucking racer or riders there that could have gone testing for you for the whole season.
Yeah.
And you didn't. Like, what makes common sense to us is not common sense to them. Like, do you know what I mean? They're probably more interested in why that was leaked than anything else.
Well, you know, Honda. Marquez could die, but they don't. They wouldn't care as much as having bad PR. I mean, that's their number one. Don't lie, cheat, and steal for PR.
They will, yeah.
They've always been known for that.
They have been, yeah. And look, it's all PR first and brand first, and it's actually kind of funny when you look at it in Yamaha, right? Because they've had a bad year, right? And Jarvis has come out and said that it has been a bad year. Do you know what I mean? And he called the team out, and there's the times where they've apologized to riders. But I thought it was very telling in one of the YouTube videos after, or behind the scenes or on scene or whatever, you could hear Jarvis saying to Quartararo, thank you. He's like, I thought this year was going to be so much worse, but you fucking did it amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? And you wouldn't hear that from a Honda Corp. Do you know what I mean?
No.
You know, and it's just.
What about, let's say Puig, when he was lying to Simon Crafar, and he's going, finally, Crafar kept drilling him because Puig was saying the bike's fine. He's going, the thing's all over the place. What do you mean it's fine? Look at it. It's deadly. You're coming in 18th, and pitching people off. That would how you. And they finally said in the same statement, it's not doing well. So now he's caught in a lie. Now, how good does that look?
Exactly, and I look. Like, I do wonder, and look, like we've talked about the mentality of racing before, right? And I think the European manufacturers just have a different philosophy on how to go racing. Do you know what I mean? If it fucking blows up,
that's part of racing.
It's part
And
of
it
it.
is.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Do you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Now, if you have fucking 10 blow-ups, it's a problem, right?
It's a problem.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like if you're pushing things at the start of the season or whatever, or you're doing this and it blows up, everyone's like, well, it's the start of the season. Of course it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know people are restricted to their engines and that, but like I'll go back to the Stegosaurus wings. They weren't even fucking painted and they were bolted onto the back of a Ducati to try, right? And the mentality was is that if they're not perfect, because they're not painted, they're not in line with the brand and this, that, and the other. And if they fall off, sure, we'll just print it maybe a mil or two thicker the next time.
Yeah, right.
And then you looked at when Yamaha put the Stegosaurus wings on the back of the bike in the test, there was duct tape holding it on. Do you know what I mean? But if you look at Honda, things were
it was painted, had the Repsol on it, had the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, look, they weren't painted, but like you could see there was a design, there was a function, there was a stress test. Joe, like when you looked at Ducati, like it was, how would you say? It was like the edges were kind of like all straight or curved.
Yeah.
But with the Honda, they were actually finished. Do you know what I mean? To the contours of the bike, where with Ducati they weren't. Like you could see that they were lumpy, like so. But like I just think, and that willingness just to try it and fuck it, if it fails, it fails. Do you know what I mean? We'll bolt on another one. We'll go again. Like, do you know what I mean? Is my view.
It's like I said, it's a whole different strategy. But the biggest story you had all year had to be when you had the engine, the Yamaha dumping their whole 22 engine. That was huge. When you have 10 blow up, it's this problem. That was huge. That showed a whole lot. You know.
Yeah, look, it was scary, and like I suppose that brings us on to Frankie and Crutchlow backing Frankie for the 2023 season. And this is a very interesting, because for me there's layers in this, right? So with Crutchlow saying that, you know, realistically the Yamaha's bike is too aggressive. You have to be too aggressive to ride the bike. Now, for me, Joe, that's definitely, Joe, it's definitely going against what a Yamaha was. Yamaha was like a really easy bike to ride. Do you know what I mean? Nice wide arcing lines, let the bike do the work. You just sit on it and then enjoy the spin, right? But that has changed now, that you have to be really aggressive to get the maximum, to get the bike into the window. And he was just saying, Joe, that's not how Frankie rides. And that's genuine. You can see it. Like, Frankie is the exact same riding style as Rossi. Exact same. Very, 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 very similar.
That goes into the inline four too, because with a greater amount of inertia, because of greater size, that's gonna push you out more. That's why when the V4s always were faster on long arcing corners, right, than the Yamahas. And the Yamahas were better. The inline fours are better on the slow tight corners, because when they pulled out, that inertia kept pulling them out. They couldn't make the corner. You know what I mean? They couldn't turn in because of the inertia of the corner. Where the V4s could go out and they didn't have that inertia, so they could go faster and turn in.
But then they just had the grunt then with the acceleration for the V4 to get out of the corner faster than the inline.
Yes. Yeah, but which doubles the
compounds the problem. Yeah. Compounds the problem for the V or for the inline fours. But you know, so Crutchlow then was saying, you know, that he would believe or like Yamaha, or he said that Yamaha is going to be developed back into that chassis, or that chassis orientated bike, that, you know, it's easier to ride, that it's nicer to ride, that you don't have to be so aggressive. So in other words, what Crutchlow is saying is that they're going to go back to the 2019 kind of type bike and the 2015 type bike, which is fine. Now, before people say, can't they just use the frames from those eras? No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Different compound, or complete different bike, different mentality and whatever. So where where I am with this is like, okay, if they're going back to this, is this a polite way that Yamaha are saying that they can't solve the engine problem?
They can't solve. That's exactly right. They can't solve that. I think of it this way: the crank is this big, okay, and it's as small as they can possibly make it. Right now, somebody's coming along and saying, well, "Guess what? Let's make it, 30% less. We have to make it 30% less." And then the engineer's going, "Hold a second. I already made it this big. It ain't going nowhere. We've already had it down to nothing. Okay." Where do we go from here? Now it's a physics problem. You're not engineering around it. Okay. It's already been engineered. So
but look, like I still think, and this comes back to Rossi, and then like I still think it's not going to be solved next year for Yamaha. They're going to start tweaking that bike to get that bike back, but that's a whole new chassis mentality dealing with the bike. And we've seen, with the testing, we've seen that they have started to look at stiffening the chassis to cope with some of the engine power, right? And physically stiffening the chassis. But like, I'm kind of shocked that Yamaha are kind of going, or would even agree to go back to the sweet handling chassis. I get it, because more riders can ride it. Do you know what I mean?
But they're not going to see. They can put the horsepower into the inline four. That's not the problem. Okay. The problem is keeping it so it doesn't blow its guts out. Okay. From all that inertia, the thing being. That's why the inline four is not in auto racing or anything anymore. You don't find the inline engines in auto racing or.
No, but my whole point here is that if they go backwards,
right,
to the sweet handling thing, that's not how Fabio rides.
Oh, you're right. We haven't got to that point. Yes, that's not how he rides. I want more horsepower, and I want to hold together, and I ride aggressively.
And I am very comfortable hanging over the front end of that bike to drive the fucker into the ground. I might be pushing wide on the corners, but I'll fucking push it into the ground. Did you know what I mean? So is this the problem, though, that in the year in 2019, where he wasn't getting on with the bike, if you remember, was it 2019? Yeah,
2019. He was
2019 or 2019 or 2020. I can't remember which one. But
the first year was his first year. It was his first year
of factory, wasn't it? No, it was his second year, because his first year he came out and he blew the shit out of everyone. Everyone was like, "Fucking hell, this guy!"
Yeah.
And then the next year, when he was in Petronas, he kind of
yes, it was first year at Petronas. He had all the problems. Yeah.
No, second year in Petronas. He had
second year at Petronas. Yeah.
Yeah, and then because he in his first year, I think he outperformed Frankie in the first year in Petronas, and the second year Frankie beat him. I think that was the 2019 one, and then he held on to the 2019 bike for 2020. And I think I can't remember. But if he doesn't ride like that, it's a very fucking dangerous move. Like, do you know what I mean? Because yes, you're going to bring the bike back that everyone can ride, except your fastest
rider, right?
Do you know what I mean?
And listen, what is this? The third year? Is it the second or third year they've been promising him more power, and it just hasn't been there? This will be the third. I think this would be the third year that they said, "Hey," and it's not been there. It's gone nowhere because it can't. You know what I mean? They can't do it reliably. All right.
Can't do it reliably.
Or are they going to put the horsepower into his bike? This is what I think they're going to do, because they gotten so much press on this horsepower bit. They're going to put it in there for Fabio's bike. Okay. Try to make sure, like a hope and a prayer, that it doesn't blow its guts out, or you know what I mean? They just don't want it to blow up in front of the press. It's going to wear the hell out of the engine regardless of the fact, right? Hope that it just wears it out a lot, okay, for the first couple races. It doesn't blow up, and then back it off.
Then we have to turn it down. We're wearing too much in the engine. Yeah.
Yes, like Suzuki did the same thing. Suzuki had the same problem.
Yeah, make it a mechanical thing rather than a thing.
They just won't tell anybody. They just won't tell anybody.
Yeah, but look, you'll notice the performance anyway. Like
they will admit to it.
We have a lot of speed hawks in this channel that will be telling us, they were doing 233 last week. They're doing 231.5 now. Something's going on. Yeah, but and I suppose then look, one of the other things I want to talk about is The usage of number one.
I remember those days.
I was, Joe, last night I was having a few beers and I was watching the 1994
Okay.
Australian Grand Prix
Mm-hmm.
in Eastern Creek.
Yep.
And number one was there. And I was actually looking at it and I was like, God, I missed that number. Do you know what I mean? For me, I was like, it was just like, it makes so many statements without a word. Do you know what I mean?
But it's always, and that's almost been 30 years now.
Yeah.
It's 28 years, right?
I always, well, look, I'm a fan of this sport. I love the old 500s.
Yeah.
I just watched them, but it was just the power of number one. Like I just said, it spoke without speaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't remember. Who was the last guy to run number one? I think it might have been Roberts Jr. ran a number one in the Suzuki. Maybe was it the last
Suzuki,
one?
yeah, but the last one to run number one was Stoner.
Was it Stoner?
Stoner, yeah, Stoner 2012, I think was it? Because he retired 2013, yeah.
Oh, is it that late? Did he run? I forgot. I forgot about him. Yeah, but
yeah, Stoner.
But that was a rarity. I don't think anybody else did.
Lorenzo ran it his first year in.
Did he? I thought he put it to the side. I thought he put it to the side.
No, he had a J. He had a J and an L combined together to make number one, and then the last one before that then was Nicky Hayden. Now look, I 100% get what people were saying on the thing. You know that their number is identified with their brand, right? That's very true. And the merch problems and issues and all that.
Yeah.
That is also true. But are you telling me if your favorite rider, you already had the same t-shirt, right? Your favorite rider won the world championship and brought out a number one, would you buy the t-shirt? I'd fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Fucking course you would.
It is bad luck though, I swear to God.
Oh, look, Top Rack, Taz McKenzie this year had probably the worst fucking season of his life running number one, Top Rack. It's like, I'm never running it again, you know. And look at Johnny Ray. He wore it for a couple of years, didn't he? And I still just think it's an identification. Like when I was racing, there was all different things. So like if you won the championship in go-karts and stuff like this, you know, you would wear one if you won the national championship.
Right.
If you won what was called a plate, which is like an open international race, you had like IRL or you had O plate or you had C plate or you had all of this. And these were your identifications of this fella is wearing an O plate. So this means that he won the Munster Open Championship race. Do you know what I mean? Which is I suppose it's an accolade that Joe, like that person over there, was able to win that race. Do you know what I mean? And you wore that for a year, and no, you didn't have to. You could continue to wear your number if you wanted to, but
right.
I just thought it was just, and for me, it was just one of those things that, yes, it does change your identity, but it also gives you a new identity. Do you know what I mean? And your new identity is world champion or O plate champion or whatever it is, and. You know, they say they won't, you know, they don't want to wear one on the bike, but they put one on their letters. Do you know what I mean? So yes, you're still fucking wearing it. Do you know what I mean? It's just on a different part. But I personally love to see the number one plate in a race.
I'm just lazy. I've gotten so used to not having a number one, right? That I just leave it. You know, leave his Pecco. He can leave 63 on, or you know, Fabio can run his number with 20. You know, I mean
20.
Yeah. So I just got used to it. This seems to me being lazy because I can always see him in a crowd. You know, not that you don't see the number one because it sticks out, but
but
like Pavlov's dog.
That's it. But like I tell you now, look, go and watch 1994 Eastern Creek. and you'll just see the number one, and you'll just.
I can remember the 1994, seeing it live.
Yeah, it was Schwanz, but it was just for me. It's just a number. Like it is a number, right? And a lot of people say yes, it brings you bad luck and whatever, But it's still like it's probably you've dreamt all your life of being a world champion. You have the fucking number one, and then you're like, I'll stick to my own number. For me, it just kind of defeats the purpose of it. You know what I mean?
I think that keeping the number started with NASCAR, and they said that the merch was the difference of the merch or something that problems cost so much money.
Yeah, but you see, with NASCAR is completely different in the way
they're dumb as a stone.
Well, no, it's the best racing that you will ever. If you ever attended a NASCAR race,
I have.
Fucking brilliant.
Brilliant. Oh, it sucks. I was even in the pits handing tires over. Every shit kicker in the world's dream. I was in the team.
I am an ultimate redneck, right? So
I was there. Took me to you. I was in with the team. Some girl took me. She loved me to death, and she worked for SKF, and they set me up in a hotel room. It was carved out the side of a mountain. They took us to all the dinners were free, and on a patio that was 100 yards deep over a side 7,000 feet drop. Oh, it was just unbelievable, and all free, absolutely free.
I remember that we were there in an RV, right? And we were barbecuing, and there was fucking partying like 4 nights before the race. Everyone was in fucking flying form. Do you know what I mean? Everyone then was trying to get into the straight the straight between turn 3 and turn 4, because that's where the action was going to happen. Because when the race comes to the end, last 3 laps, they're all going to be fucking hoofing and boofing each other, right? Massive crashes. Do you know what I mean? Women standing up on the fucking wall, flashing the drivers. It's a fucking best fucking entertainment. Absolutely pissed out of your minds, and I think it was like something like $60 for the weekend to get into it.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, the rednecks on the hill. They'd have a hill. When the RVs would show up, and the women would come down. Hey, baby, why don't you come up for the thing? And they're like, oh, Jesus Christ! You're thinking, did they watch that thing for a while? You know what I
mean? But look for me, and like NASCAR is. Look, it's fun to watch. Like the first 100 laps are boring. But once the shit starts getting real and they start getting a bit feisty, you know what I mean? They ain't afraid of crashing each other, you know what I mean? But yeah, for the teams
and the drivers, you have fans, and I'm going, well, what's the cubic inch? And they know, the fans know what underwear, the brand underwear the drivers wear, okay, but they don't know how many cubic inches is an engine. What are you talking about? Dumb. I mean, absolutely missing a gene. And the security. I got a story for you. The security goes out, right? The guy doesn't show up, and I'm big, and I'm in a suit though. And they go, "Can you help us with the security? We have no security guys, and this drivers in the back, and at this, where they like a home show type of thing, but it's NASCAR.
Yeah.
And this big hillbilly comes up, swear to God, in the overalls, right? I'm coming through. I said, well, sir, no, you can't come through, right? I'm going to go through half drunk. I said, buddy, you're not coming through. He goes to shove me to get me through. I turn around, bang, I hit him. Knocked him cold, right? In front of like 100 people. He's out like a light. You knocked out Z. You knocked out Buford. Oh, my God, you killed him. And they're all screaming like, oh, my God, what happened?
Brilliant.
But yeah, like, I don't know. You got to go through. And they literally drug him, like his feet were hanging. They're dragging him away.
Brilliant, love it. Can't beat. You just can't beat NASCAR, do you know what I mean? But and they were ones that it's all about the car and the number. Do you know what I mean? The drivers change, but the number doesn't. And I get it, but if a rider changes team, you're going to go and buy a jersey or a new one that the team that they're in. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If your rider was the one that won the world championship, you will buy that. No, it's a pain in the arse for Rossi's team or whoever's team to change over the number from 20 to 1 or 63 to 1. It's fucking 3 clicks on a fucking mouse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll still sell 63 and they'll sell 1. Do you know what I mean? But I just think personally, I think it should just be there. Do you know what I mean? I think it's in my own view, it's just putting out there that like this is the individual that beat the world last year. Here he is. Do you know what I mean? And this is what separates him from everyone else is that he has and only he has number one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't fucking have it, like unless you beat him for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same that I have in my mind for a championship belt. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're UFC fighting, boxing,
now
whatever it is.
everybody has a belt because everybody has a different. You know, the UFC, the WBC,
Yeah.
They have 5-6 different belts for being a world champion. You know.
But if you're fighting for that belt, that's what you're fighting for. Do you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you're fighting for the world championship, you're fighting to be world champion.
In boxing, they have so many belts that nobody cares anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure. What was it there when your man beat Anthony Joshua? Like he took like 6 belts off.
Yeah. Usyk.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, I'll bet all day on Usyk over your man, the Gypsy King.
The Gypsy. That's going to be a good fight. All right, I'll watch that one. That'll make a couple of mil. All right, but yeah. Look, I think that's it for us. Well, that's it for me anyway this week. Anything you want to go through, Jake?
No, the only thing I've been wondering is, you know, I the KTM where we saw had a new chassis. Remember I said it had the bigger twos, and it looked like I'm thinking that it had a aluminum base. They went totally different. I haven't seen it again. The pictures are throwing up of people testing. I haven't seen it again. It's surprising. So keep your eye out on that, if you would.
I have the pictures. I just don't have the vernier calipers yet from
where is that sleeper? God damn it!
Yeah. So, but I will do a video on it because there is a lot more that meets the eye there.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, when you put that up though, but you can see like it's a definite. Even if the bike is 20 feet away and they take pictures, you can see the difference of the two chassis, right? I can anyway, and I can't. I keep seeing the old chassis come up again. I'm wondering where is it? Are they did they ditch it? Did they?
No, there's more pictures. I have a good few pictures of it actually. So I'll do more identification on that. Now we will have some exciting news in next week's one. But we can't share that till next week.
Yes,
because it might, or maybe
a week after. Don't say it. I know you're dying to.
I know I am itching. But anyway, we will wrap it up there for today. And thank you everyone for joining. And we will see you again next week or in tomorrow's video also. Have a good one.
Take care, folks.
Take care.